Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
So this is the Village of Saxtons River regular trustee meeting held today, January 9th, because of the official New Year's holiday. I'm Chair Amy Howlett, and we are being recorded by Fact TV on this Zoom-only meeting. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. We are on to public comment. Anyone have public comments to report since the last meeting? I have a couple, so I'll lead off. Peter Bergstrom emailed the board about cutting on village property, and I asked Matt Brennan to follow up on that. Matt, do you want to make any comment?
Only that
Cutting wood, I should say, cutting small trees on village property on between Maple and, is it Mill Street?
Yes. Yeah, I talked to the homeowner. Actually, he had called and left a message for me. So I said, well, I will stop by and take a look and go from there. So that's what I have done. I haven't called him back yet. I was going to do that today. But yeah, all the brush has been cut and some small trees have been cut. Initially, he had said that there was some trees that were, he made it sound like hanging over his house that he wanted to cut. I didn't see any of that. There are some larger trees there, but there's nothing that is leaning toward the house itself.
Well, just to make it clear, though, it's not appropriate for a private homeowner to cut property that belongs to the village.
Right, just like
Yeah.
it would be anyone else. So I will call him tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, I know we can't put them back, but I thought it bore repeating in a public meeting that this is not approved activity. It's a funny little parcel.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have recognized that it was village property, but I'm glad that someone did and got through to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we've also had a request from a resident to investigate the relationship between the Village of Saxtons River and the Vermont Housing Finance Agency. So Sarah followed up on this earlier, and after weeks of emails that weren't responded to, we have now begun the application process. So we've reassured the homeowner that we're working on this and that the assistance that they seek should be available to them. This pays for utility or sewer bills for homeowners who meet the criteria of the program.
Okay.
I think that's it. So item number 4 is overnight street parking. Highway Department has contacted me about 2 cars that are routinely parked on Main Street. I had emailed everyone that Louise Luring told me to back when we hit November. She still is, I think, acting with the good of the village in mind. And I wondered how you'd like to proceed. Do we make up a sign and print it off and put it under the windshield wiper? Do we contact the sheriff? Do we take stronger actions? What's your pleasure? Oh, Rob is nodding.
Well, that's always a strange situation that people don't move their cars, but I guess start by putting something on their windshield that said, if you park on Main Street when there's plowing, that it could be towed, which I think is the policy. Not that Rockingham wants to do that, but I think that has been the policy.
Any other contributions?
Is it the same people?
The highway department thinks it is. And I guess I should have been down there documenting with my camera, Ellen, but I haven't. They pointed out that after the snowstorm, the same imprint around the car stayed for several days. You know, obviously it hadn't been moved at all. You could see where the snow had melted right off. Rockingham deals with this by having a separate parking lot that people pay to use during a snowstorm. And I have a funny feeling, maybe I'm making this up, that we had talked about using the rec for that, but the rec is awfully unobserved. Yeah.
A little far away from the village too.
Yeah,
And that's
well-
where they dump the snow when they remove it.
Yeah.
And the gate's locked, so somebody have to keep it.
Yeah.
Amy, do we know if this is a homeowner or a renter?
No idea. I don't know the identity.
Because that would be the other thing is contacting the property owner if it's a rental.
Yeah. So
and-
Peter Stam is one of the people I wrote to, and he responded. So he's certainly been alerted to, this is back when I was just saying, hey, everybody, don't forget overnight parking ban in Saxtons River.
Right.
So I would assume he's alerted his tenants. And I know there are also tenants in the village market and the building next to them. So that's also plausible. Okay, I'll go with the paper notice. Thanks for your feedback. Hey, Art.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. We are now on to number 5, review the ARPA deadlines and public input. So we are going to talk about the rescue truck and fire apparatus in number 6, but I just wanted everybody to remember that we must make a decision by the end of 2024. So there's still quite a bit of latitude open to us. I did not go back and research, but I think we voted to spend a very small amount earlier in 2022. I can check with Sarah on that, but I remember making the motion and following through. Was an emergency situation and we didn't have a separate place to, might have been the ESO software.
Yes.
You think so,
Yeah.
Matt? Great.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it was.
I have a note that we voted to spend $2,585.
For the ESO for the rescue.
Yeah.
Great. So we still have 123,000 available to us. It's a one-time deal. I kind of doubt that we'll ever see this sort of money available again. It's sitting safely in our accounts. And I'll be reporting on it, I assume, every April until it's gone. But it can be used on anything that we would spend tax money on. That's my recollection of the guidance.
Mhm.
I looked back at the public document, remembering that there was a series of hearings in Rockingham. The items that referred specifically to Saxtons River were the purchase of 37 Main Street for a village building and community development, providing funds to Main Street Arts to serve as the cultural and community center for the building. There was also, as I recollect, real interest in continuing the trails that run from the Bellows Falls Historical Society by the river out to Saxtons River, working on walkable Rockingham. But that's it from that public process. What's your pleasure?
Well, you're on number 5, so you're just reporting the guidelines on it,
Yep.
and then we're moving into budget. Is
Yep.
that what? Okay. I don't have any other comments or questions regarding that.
Okay. Nick, I know you asked specifically about these funds. Did you have questions for us at this point? Nick, you're muted.
At this point, I'm thinking we're just gonna go status quo like we have been. But I was just looking at something maybe like a long-term projection as we move forward.
Talking about ARPA funds or budget?
The budgeted numbers.
Okay, so we're almost at that point. I think there's nothing else. So let's move into number 6, the village budget. And we usually begin with you, Carl. Does everybody have copies of Carl's worksheets?
Everybody
Carl-
should.
Somewhere.
Carl, do you
Um,
want to be screen sharing? Should I make you the co-host?
Yeah, I think it'd probably be better if I do. 'cause-
Okay, give me a minute. Okay, you should have the power to share documents now.
Okay, well, remind me how I do this again? Oh, share screen. Okay.
On my screen, it's a green button at the bottom, says share screen.
Yeah, I see it. Okay, do we want to start with general budget or wastewater treatment plant? What's your pleasure?
I'd say wastewater treatment plant. We've got Rob here.
Okay, there we are. This is the last 2 years and what we're budgeting for the future. I do not have numbers from Sarah yet on our actual expenses for 2021 to 22 or for what we spent year to date in 2022-23. So I can't tell you how close we are to what we budgeted, which I'd hope to be able to do.
You've asked her for those numbers, I
I've
assume,
asked her for
Carl.
those numbers, yes.
Yeah.
Have
So
not-
she and I set an informal date of February 15th. That's absolutely drop dead.
It's got to be earlier than that because we're supposed to be talking about these numbers next month. Well, I'd hope to be talking about the budget and finishing these worksheets off at the meeting in February, but
So I would suggest that you call her.
okay, I will do that.
I mean, I know Art has been asking her for those numbers for his department. And they're not forthcoming. I asked her for a deadline just to try and pin her down. And that's what she said, February 15th.
Well, it's I guess it's up to the pleasure of the board. We could go through the budgets in the March meeting and not attempt to do it in February, but that doesn't give us a lot of time to get everything together and get it prepped and ready for you to put in the annual report.
Yeah, I would think we'd want to do it in February. Sooner the better.
Okay, I will follow up with this, with Sarah.
So does that mean there's nothing we can do tonight on the budget
No.
worksheets?
No, I don't think so. I think we can take a look and make some educated guesses as to what numbers we need to set. Most of
Okay.
them don't change a whole lot, I don't think. Our general practice has been for wastewater treatment plant, for Rob to tell us what he needs.
Rob, tell us what you need.
Well, I'm assuming, because we don't have the last 2 years, I'm going off 19 and 20 and 20 and 21. The administration, just keep it at 1,800. I mean,
Okay.
it's kind of unless you guys know what's coming up that you need, but I'm thinking that may work. But not knowing what those numbers are. BF management.
Goes
Obviously
up.
that contract's due up. So that's in the process. I don't know who has that at this point.
So should I reach out to the town manager?
Yeah, I thought, I don't know if you obviously don't have it, so that's in progress. So that'll happen at some point. So that number will go up at something that you guys agree on. Chemicals, I would say we could leave it 3,000. Cause I don't know, the other thing that's hard for me is I don't know what stuff gets put under. I'm getting a little more handle on it because of what Ellen's been doing with the each month with the mornings, so that helps a little bit.
She's been so clear, and I don't know about the
Well-
rest of you, but being able to go back and see exactly what is on the warrant month to month has been huge for me.
My only thing is there a way we can print those off?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, for me to print them off. Every time
Yeah,
I
you
try,
should.
I don't have I'm not, I don't have permission.
Oh, yeah, because you're only supposed to be able to view it, not edit it.
Yeah, I
And
know. I don't
printing.
want to edit it. I just want to print it.
Yeah,
But
I don't.
anyways.
I think that,
Or if you can just send it in an email instead of, I know you're doing that in the email, sharing it, but as a separate document, if you can do that, and then I can just print it off. I don't know if I can print it off.
yeah,
You wanna
I'll figure it out.
Anyways, that would help. Just so that I can go through each one and then try to categorize it. Because if I can put it in categories, we can know kind of what's going on budget wise.
So Rob, are you saying that it needs to be defined more where it's,
well, I don't know what they put, like chemicals. I don't know if they put their polymer under that, or if they put, you know what I'm saying? Somebody
So-
looks at something and then says, okay, well, this could be a chemical, you know,
right?
and put it under that, you know what I mean? Because
Yep.
we don't,
So-
chemicals to me is the pH, and we haven't bought pH for a while, but obviously we're spending money in that category because we had in 21, we had 5,000 and we actually spent 2,000. I don't know, 4,000 in 22. I don't know if we spent any, you know what I'm saying? So, and we
Right.
brought
So
it down to
what-
3,000. So I'm thinking we could probably drop it to 2,000, but not knowing what's actually spent to that, I'm thinking we can do that to 2,000.
Would it be better for you to make a list of items? I mean,
Well,
you
not necessarily. It's just, it's whoever looks at it and
well, I know,
kinda
but for
take an
for-
educated guess.
right, so that
Fine.
it can be charged to the right portion.
Right.
Would it be, I
Right.
mean,
I mean,
electrical is electrical, you know, I
Right.
mean, electricity,
Correct.
but the other
Right.
stuff you know about, we don't know about. And
Right.
so it certainly, you're right, it certainly can come out of someplace else if it's not.
Right. And
Put
we
the
can
right
just do, or we can do an adjustment at some point, 6 months through the budget is kind of what we do in the falls. But I can certainly look, it helps to get each month one. And then maybe I can look at it and say, hey, maybe if Ellen, she takes and thinks, oh, it should be under this category, I can always email it back.
Yep.
and say,
Well,
Yep.
well,
let's put it under that category.
wait,
All right,
Yep.
wait, one more thing. I don't assign categories or anything. I just say who the bill was from and to. I don't do anything past that because I believe that's Sarah's responsibility.
Yep, that's my understanding.
Yeah,
Okay,
Right,
well,
but
anyways,
somebody's got to be writing on something so that it comes out of the right category. Or it's put in the right category when we're tracking it.
right.
The electricity is not going to be put under insurance. Right?
Right.
So,
But
Yeah, I
anyways, at
think
least
that- I
Go
think
ahead.
that's all Sarah.
that's fine. But at least we're getting these warrants, which then kind of breaks it down to where it's going, which we weren't getting these before. So we're making progress here. So,
that's good.
as far as electricity, I think we should go to 19. Just looking at 20, I'm sure we're past that. 21 budget, the 2021, we're at 18.6. So at least 19, depending on what we get back for feedback or what we are now. Propane. Last budget was 1250. I keep it at that, but I don't know what our cost of propane is. 1250, Carol.
yeah,
It looks like a 3 in there.
It is.
you're right.
Insurance.
I'll be typist.
Insurance, I don't know if we need the 5,500, but I was thinking more of $5,000.
Okay.
Lab testing, because I don't know, the last couple of years of the worksheet that we have, we've been well over, one was 5, one was 4. I'm thinking that one probably should go to 5.
Okay,
But like I said, until we know kind of what we're getting at, where we're at year to date, it's just a guess right now. 3,500 for a day of flushing and TVing. I think that'll still hold true. Paving project obviously is, we're all done with that. Sludge removal, I'm thinking up that another 500 to 15,000 just because of cost of fuel. I'm sure that's gone up as well. But and that's just taking some of the invoices and looking on telephone. Looking back at the last 2 actual years that we have, we're closer to $2,000 than we are 1,500. So, plant maintenance, I would say 7,000, unless we are well over that in the actuals this year.
But you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just unknowns, but I'm trying to put numbers into it so we have some sort of, and we know what that number is for the bond payment. And then 1,000 for light bulbs for the UV. And I don't know what the total is. But I'm sure Carl's added it up already.
$191,758.
Yeah, and I assume that will go up because we'll have line 2 to fill in once I talk to the town manager.
Right.
So it'll be around 260,000 probably, a little under that. Well, 267, 200, probably 258. Looks like roughly.
Yeah. So, yeah. So. Okay. I think
Great.
that's the only thing that we got going on now at the plant is remember we did the Mobus, one of the things for the UV system back a year ago. We had one that went down. And we had one sent out to repair.
Mhm.
We had another one have issues. And we took the repaired one and put it in. And in the process of doing that, it was doing the same thing, but then we found a breaker that was in the control box that these all sit in. And we don't know, because we haven't had, that we found some other issues with the Mobuses, some certain little small circulation fans that are rubber mounted, and some of the mounts were broke. So I just got those the other day. So our plan is to put those back in and put that Mobus back in and see if that breaker was just tripped and that was causing the whole problem of the unit not working, or if the actual Mobus is actually bad and needs to be repaired. So that's in the works right now. So I did get a quote on repairing another one, which is $4,832. And I would assume that's not including shipping. And those have to go all the way back to Germany, unfortunately.
Wow.
But that's but they're able to fix it and send it back to us to have a spare. And that's what's in there now is what we had fixed last year.
Yeah.
But like I said, we want to try to put the rubber grommets on the fans, put the old one back in, the original one back in that wasn't working right, and see if it was actually the breaker or if it was actually the Mobus. Because the guys that were working on it couldn't say that the breaker was tripped before or after when they changed the unit. We just noticed it after we changed it, or they did. So we just want to double check before we send it out, because if we send it out and nothing's wrong with it, it's like, well, that's kind of a crying wolf. So we just want to double check it before we send it out. But Other than that, I don't think of anything else that's really on the horizon at this point that we're looking at the plant.
Okay.
Okay.
So we look for a report on the MOBIS or the fan solution at the next meeting?
Yeah, we should have that. We should be able to try that and see what it is, and I'll let you know as soon as we try it, and we'll be able to figure out what's going to happen.
Okay.
And we can do that. Because obviously it takes time for it to go send it out, because we got to send it to, I think we got to send it to Carolinas, and then they send it to Germany.
Wow.
So, oh yeah, it's amazing we can't fix stuff in the United States,
Yeah.
but that's the way it is.
Questions for Rob? Comments from Carl?
No, thanks, Rob. It all looks good. When I get those actual numbers, which hopefully will be before the next meeting, I'll send you the updated sheet. And
Yep.
we can, February, we can talk about whether we need to adjust any of these. It usually takes us 2 passes at the worksheet to figure it out. So.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I look, just like I said, I was just looking back at 19 and 20 and 21 and 20 and 21 and just going by what that history is. And
Yeah.
pretty sure stuff doesn't usually go down, but I can't think of anything that we had that changed too much, so like I said, electricity would be the 18.6, and electricity usually goes up, so but I don't know what we want to do about that. That just seems to be climbing. I don't know if the village has ever thought about, and I'm not saying I'm for or against it, but a solar project.
Huh.
But
Good point.
I know the town has it, but, and trust me, I don't understand it, because some bills we get there I have no balance at all, and some days they're balances that we pay, so. It's how well the sun does, I guess. But it's one of those things. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know enough about it, but obviously $19,000 for electricity is just gonna keep rising.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
we budgeted 13 and 20, and now it's 23 and 24, and it's already gone up $6,000.
Yeah.
So it's on the rise.
so Amy, I have a question about the insurance line.
Yep.
Is this, do we handle this coverage together with the insurance, under the village budget? Or is this a separate policy?
I don't know the answer to that. If I were forced at gunpoint to guess, I would guess it is a portion of the Rockingham insurance, but I don't know. So let's not guess.
Okay,
I'll add that to my list of things to figure out. It's not on the back of, I know you have, I don't have a copy of the annual report in front of me, but I know there's always good descriptions for each of the line items on the reverse sheet in the annual report. You
Mhm.
don't have anything noted, Carl, under insurance?
Um,
You know what I'm referring to?
yeah, I know what you're referring to. And right now, my copy of the annual report is locked up. Let me see if I can open it again.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm zooming in from a place and I don't have mine with me. This is the time of year when it would be good to memorize it and have instant recall, but that's never been a skill set of mine either.
Are you seeing the annual report flash by you?
No,
On the
you haven't
screen?
shared it if you're,
Okay. Well, let me find the right page first and then I'll share it. I was just going to.
It should be just property insurance, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it probably is part of our passive stuff. Uh, I'm remembering that when we had an additional, when we had the storage shed built, we had to add it to our passive coverage, to
Right.
our DLCT coverage. So I think you're right. It's a separate bill paid for solely by the village.
I have a note that it's the Vermont League of Cities and Towns coverage for the plant and public official liability.
Yep, there you go. So I review that and update it every year. Art and Nick provide the information on their volunteers. And we haven't, to my knowledge, added any property or buildings since the storage shed. So it's pretty routine. Again, because I'm not home, I don't have those figures, but why don't I check on that?
Okay.
For the wastewater treatment plant. Okay, got it.
Okay. Should we go on to the general budget then?
Yes. Rob, thank you for
Thank you,
coming
Rob.
and doing such a great job bringing us
All
up to date.
Okay, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Okay, do you see the general budget on your screens?
No, we're still seeing the wastewater treatment plant budget.
Okay.
Now we, oh wait, wastewater treatment plant.
No.
No, I hit the wrong. I hit the wrong key. Now do you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so technologically illiterate.
Hey, you're doing it. That's the important thing.
Okay, so a couple of things to mention. So Nick and Art, and correct me if I've misunderstood you, thought that we could hold the fast squad and fire department budgets at the current level because we're no longer serving Athens. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct, Nick?
Correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I filled those in. I filled in building and administration because we never seemed to change those. Kept the capital reserve the same because we again try to keep that constant. And I also filled in an estimate for heat. And anybody's got a better projection for the heat, feel free to enter it. I took a look at some online newsletters about where heating oil prices were going to go, and any place from up a lot to down a lot to someplace in between. So just a couple of items. So this is what I proposed is assuming that our average cost will be $4.70 a gallon for fuel oil over the next budget year. My last bill was $4.45 a gallon from Coda and Coda. And for the current budget year, we budgeted enough to cover it at $5.15 a gallon. So the consensus of what I've seen seems to be that the cost will go down a little, but who knows?
So keep it at the 515 or go to 5.
Okay. What's your pleasure? Keep it at 515?
Sure.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Art, do you have a sense of whether heat will be impacted by the fact that we're not opening the building to go to Athens?
Probably not.
Okay,
That building leaks so much now that it just runs fuel through it anyways.
okay. I thought it worth asking the question, but I'm not surprised at your answer.
Okay. So I guess then one of the things we need to talk about is whether or not the new rescue truck, if we're going to follow up on that, would be under next year's budget or this year's budget expense.
Well, it's a separate, it's coming from ARPA funds. So that's not in
Well,
this.
yeah, and so I had a thought on that too, that by handling that outside of the budget, it's less transparent. So when for example, we did the sewer covers for the street paving project, we put that into the budget and noted that it was coming out of the capital reserve. And I had thought that we might want to somehow account for the ARPA money in the budget.
I think transparent's always good.
So if you sort of look down.
Well, so it'd be just a line item. It's not going to offset what's needed to be raised to pay all the other stuff. There's no problem showing it, but it's just, it would be what we received for ARPA money. We've already spent the $2,580 for the ESO. That's all. Yeah, that's fine, but it can't be part of the budget numbers because it's not budget money, right? We can't put it down as cash on hand to offset the budget because that's not what it's for.
No, but I'm thinking that we could, well, I'm suggesting that when we put out the budget, we include the income that we're budgeting, or and I'm just thinking it would be good to show that in there someplace.
Well, yeah, and
It's in our
I
accounts.
agree.
So I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, but yeah, it can't be put in there to offset the budget. It's just money that you're showing that we have available, just like any other. I'm not sure. Do we typically at the annual meeting show all the accounts we have and what's in them and what's not in them? Are they line itemed as capital reserve for?
They are in Sarah's budget report, yes.
Okay, so that would just be in there as ARPA money received and ARPA money spent. So yeah, there's no sense in hiding it. We have it. There's no, of course it needs to be out there.
So let's just talk for a moment about the expenditure for the ESO software. So how will we report that as money spent? Would that show up in the budget for the rescue squad with
Well,
No,
a
you would
note
show
that
that,
it came from ARPA funds?
right, you would show the ARPA funds and what we received as a total, and then what was spent out of it as a line item.
So you
ESO
think
or-
that would make more sense than cross-referencing it to the rescue expenditures?
Yeah, it would be just listed as something that was spent on that.
Nick, do you have any feelings about this? We're talking about your baby here.
No, I mean, I think there should be a way, obviously transparency is key, but what about having, I see everything budgeted in here. What about having like a separate area where everything can be spelled out? So you have the money that was received and then each other line item underneath that would take account for the ARPA funds. Almost like you're transactioning another account, but not per se.
I'm not sure I follow, Nick. Could you?
Well, it's no different
Run that again?
than what I said. It's just money that's come in. We have ARPA money. It's not part of the budget for the village. It's money for us to do something with. And so that number would be showed, ARPA money received. Then we've spent $2,580. So you would put a $2,500 deduction spent on ESO for the rescue squad. And any other monies that are spent would just be listed as what they were spent for.
Yeah.
And I can't get much simpler than that. I mean, it's not.
Well,
So if we look at what Carl has sketched out ahead of us, line number 23 is given as ARPA funds, and I assume the footnote is meant to explain it on the same page, Carl?
yeah. Yeah, so,
So you just have a different category, ARPA funds received, put the number in there.
So
ARPA money spent, 2585 ESO for rescue squad. That, and so on and so forth until the money is spent. I mean, that's, I don't know why it has to be so difficult there.
Yeah, I like what you've done, Carl, and I also like the idea that I think I'm hearing from Matt, and who will correct me, I'm sure if I'm wrong, that we have a separate page that is just devoted to ARPA receipts and expenditures.
okay, let me just follow up and argue for what I had intended to do. So we have a budget, and we apply the cash on hand against that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So what I'm suggesting is that, and we don't cut anything out of the budget because we're paying for it out of cash on hand. What I'm suggesting is that maybe we should put things that we're going to spend ARPA money for into the budget, have a line item of ARPA funds, and so we have total expenditures minus cash on hand minus ARPA funds, total to be raised by taxes. So we'll come out to the same number of how much the tax bill is going to be, but where we're spending more than we're raising in taxes, where that money's coming from, all in one place. I don't know. It's, I see what you're saying, just a separate page or a separate table, and I can do that too when I'm putting the budget sheets together for the report.
Well, I can understand what you're saying, but yeah, I just think keeping it separate on the same page, but just separate. I mean, everybody knows about this ARPA money, and they will see what we received and they will see what we spent it on. And yeah.
Well, it's a little bit clearer than what the total cost of expenditures for what are we looking at here? This is the whole general budget.
Yeah.
So we don't break it out then by fire station, fast squad. Well, those are the two main elements of this.
I'm assuming that, I mean, we're kind of getting hung up on a small technicality, I think. But
Thanks, Matt. You're right.
I'm assuming that all of the trustees, and again, I'm assuming, and you voice your opinion if it's different, I'm assuming we're not going to put this ARPA money into our paying for our budget. Right? We can spend it on anything you would spend tax dollars on. Correct?
Yes.
Sure. So we could just cover the whole budget. Wouldn't cost the taxpayers anything.
No, I
Right.
don't think we want to do that. I think philosophically,
Okay.
we've agreed on that previously.
Okay, so I just think it needs to be just separate, not hidden anywhere. But this is what we have for needs. This is how much we're proposing that the budget is going to be to cover the village of Saxtons River. And then separate line item or line items is ARPA funds received and what they've been spent on. And I would assume, you know, some people, because, yeah, but I'm not an accountant, so I don't know what the,
I don't think any of us are.
I
Ellen, do you have an accounting background that you haven't shared with us?
Definitely not.
So
I think as
I'm
long
not
as it's-
hearing, I haven't heard your opinion, Ellen. Do you feel strongly one way or the other? Stick it in the budget so we see ARPA on the general fund, or keep it separate so we see it on a list of ARPA expenditures? What's your feeling?
I think I'm more inclined to keep it separate.
Okay, why don't we go with that, Carl?
Okay.
And we know that you have the capability to update this in a moment. If we change our minds, it might be good to remember that Rick, who isn't able to be here tonight, hasn't seen this. You know, sometimes all of you have valuable perspectives, and it's good to have them reflected in the discussion. But as you say, none of us are accountants. So we might also ask Sarah, who has more financial expertise certainly than I do. Are you okay with that, Carl?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I have no accounting background, but it just seemed to me that when I lose track of money, it's because I don't keep track of it with everything else, because I keep track of it separately.
no, I think it should be right connected to, you know, just below the total budget, just, you know, like you have showing here, you know, just
Yeah,
Just
have this
put
like
it
a
up.
line item.
just skip a space and put it in. This is what we received. This is what we spent. And that's a whole separate deal.
Yeah.
Okay, So-
I will go and look at Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Carl, I don't know if you've jumped into their ARPA page, but they have an amazing frequently asked questions for ARPA funds. And I go back to it periodically when as I did in this last month, when I wanted to remember what the due dates were and when to report on this, and, you know, when we have to actually have it spent. There well may be advice on how to report ARPA funds in the annual report, and I'll take a look and see if it jumps out at me. Certainly it's interesting to see how other Vermont towns who, you know, work under the same statutes we do, how they're doing it. We could also look to Bellows Falls. I think they've already established I know they've established the town meeting date. So I expect they're well on their way to the annual report for the town of Rockingham. That would be, I think, Alyssa Harlow, who handles those questions of how to line up the budget. I think she's pretty sharp.
I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Are we done with this budget, or did we get?
I think we've talked about the ARPA funds, just how they're listed.
Mhm.
Have we heard from you, Art? I mean, obviously that you're happy with the status quo.
Yeah, that's what, when Carl sent out that questionnaire, both Nick and I answered that we felt we could hold the budget without having to go out to Athens.
Great.
well, there's still some things, and it may be that we decide until we've got actual numbers, we can't answer this, but I'd like to know if we have an idea of what we will need to spend for policing, insurance, telephone, and whether or not we want to put anything into the fire station development account, which will probably depend on what our cash on hand is. That's where
Yep.
we've got.
Good points.
So that,
So-
I don't think we can answer that until I have the cash on hand number from
Well,
Sarah.
the policing part is a number that we set every year. I mean, we're just buying time. So we can go up with that, we can go down with that. That's so are we straight with them? Number one, because I know there was a discrepancy. And number two, where are we with that?
So-
As far as what they've charged us.
Ellen reminded me that the hours for the report are on every bill that they send.
Mhm.
And she's been scrupulously scanning those bills so that I do have electronic copies available, but I haven't gone back to add them up and see how many hours they've spent.
How many total? And
How many total, right? I do have from December 21st, their proposal for policing services in the coming fiscal year, $52 per hour. For contracts of over 2,000 hours. That's not us, we're under, and it's $62 per hour. So we
which
could
one
do-
is which
so
one is us?
62,
62 is for the small guy.
yeah. More for
person.
the contracts that aren't as many.
Yeah.
So I can sit down and do the math. I didn't do it previous to tonight. Does anybody remember how many hours we contract for per week, per month?
I don't.
I might have that. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know if it was broken out in hours. I think.
Yeah,
it
because
was,
it just says $725 per month.
yeah, because we just I don't
So
know
if
if
I
we've
just-
ever.
Hold on. I did the math recently on this for the town manager.
It looks like it's 17 hours. I'm looking at a bill from November.
I know we set this based on a certain average number of hours per month.
Yep.
Thought. So somewhere we know that. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I think we just kind of guesstimated, given their rate, and put a number in that worked for us as far as a dollar amount. And in the past, we have wanted it more starting when school got out,
Right.
through summer months and nights and stuff like that, just roaming the village with some, speed check stuff happening. So that one can decide what we've spent this year, and if you want more, if they're able to cover more hours, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'll look back and do this when I'm not in a meeting.
Okay.
Well, would we ideally, assuming that it's not going to be a huge amount, want about the same number of hours coverage? Would we want more? Would we want less?
Right. Well, I guess you have to see what they did for hours. It's probably a review of their bills and see how many hours they did put in. And go from there. I mean,
Okay,
Oh, you know what? Wait a second. No,
No, you got some all kinds of information for us, haven't you?
I do, I'm just digging, or, digging a deeper hole. Hold on. And just FYI too, with that Google sheet, I've also included you guys in the ability to view all invoice copies. That helps at all, so we can go back and look. Okay. Alrighty, Wyndham County Sheriff.
Yep.
I'm looking at most recent statements. So like, for example, for October, 17.5 hours. And then we have that flat rate of 725 per
Yep.
month.
So did that cover it in our current rate? What's our current rate anyways? 50 or 50?
The new rates are 62.
Yeah,
What's
but we're
the
working,
current rate?
October would have been new rates or old rates,
Old rates.
which, do we know what that is? Is
I don't have it with me.
52. Well, how many hours? 17 what?
17.5.
Say if it's 50, that's, and what they bill us?
725.
Yeah, so at $50 an hour, it's $8.75. So must have been less than that.
Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I think I got something else.
So we're gonna hold on the general budget for now till we get more information. Is that where we are?
I think so.
Okay,
No, I'm not telling you, I'm just asking.
yeah,
So you have an insurance figure here, so you want that again.
yeah. We see, and the telephone, I guess I'll have to take a look at what our actual was last year, what our,
Because the telephone covers the internet also, the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I think in terms of talking about the setting money aside for the new fire station, we need to wait until we've got more information from Sarah.
Okay,
Cash on hand. I'll get in touch with her tomorrow if I can.
okay.
Okay, and I'll take a look at figuring out a good way to account for the ARPA funds as well. One other thing that I had in here, that I put in before I knew that Athens wasn't going to renew the Athens Fire Service contract, because it bothered me that we were getting this money and not reporting it as income or how it was spent. But
in fact, we did not report it as income in either column C or column E in previous budgets.
yeah,
Okay.
so, but, and I was wondering, then I left it in because I didn't know what not getting that funding would mean in terms of the budget for fast squad and fire department. But if Art and Nick think that we'll hold the line and that it's a wash, and actually we probably should be better off considering how low that fire service contract is. Maybe we just it's not going to be an item going forward. Maybe we should just eliminate it.
I would agree with that decision.
Yep.
I think it's confusing at this point to start reporting it, given that there's no expenditure, there's no income this year.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Is there more below the line? I'm looking down at, okay,
That's just
income
the-
items.
The income item. So for some reason that copied itself twice. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
That's just Excel playing with me,
Testing you.
testing me. And I don't really have any other, notes in my Word document that we haven't already talked about.
Okay.
So I think everything's good.
Well,
So I have
I
an
understand.
idea.
Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted someone.
No, it's okay. So I have an idea. Carl, where the second Excel box kind of played games with you on the bottom, what about turning that into grants received and expenses? So that's where you could put the ARPA information. That way it's all on the same page, but yet separate from everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Or yeah, I think that's a good idea. And just figure out how figure out how best to do that. But yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. And Nick, you had brought up the possibility of changing how we handle the rescue squad funding going forward. Would you like to talk about that?
I think this would be a great time. You're on, Nick.
Oh, wonderful. So I had some ideas on the go forward.
Hold on. Carl, we're done with this, right? Can
We're
we
done.
stop
Okay.
sharing?
I'll stop sharing.
Great, thank you. It's easier for me when I can see everyone on the same screen. Go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. So one of the thoughts that I had moving forward is to start off with a question is, since Saxton River Rescue is a nonprofit, if this new idea that I'm thinking of would come into play, would the village be able to write off the funds that were donated to the rescue for operating fees? Like, say if the budgeted is $2,300, if you guys were to donate that to the rescue and then we handle the line item expenses, would you guys be able to write that off as a donation to a nonprofit? Therefore, I don't know how that works on the village end of things.
I think
I don't think so.
we're tax exempt. I don't think it makes
Yeah,
any,
we're tax exempt anyways.
that
Okay.
doesn't matter. No.
And I feel uncomfortable putting you in the position of handling both income and expenditure. I mean, we have this system where, Ellen is the person who opens the bills and certifies them, makes the list. Everyone looks at the list. And then a separate person, Sarah, pays those bills. And that kind of check and balance means that we are insulated from the kind of embezzlement that happens in small towns all over Vermont.
Right.
That's
No, I
not meant
completely
at all as
understand.
an accusation, Nick.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's just that I think there's no way we could hand over that responsibility, giving you a lump sum. I think it exposes you to all kinds of criticism.
Yeah, because that was one of my other thoughts too, and that lingered in the back of my head. So, getting that thought back from you guys kind of solidified that idea.
So explain to me, do you get funds when you do medical transfers?
We do not.
Okay, So you do not have a separate source of income that we don't see.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I have a question for Nick and Art. How does, if we go out on a call for another, department on the mutual aid, I know everybody pays a fee to mutual aid. Does any of that come back to the companies that respond on a call?
No,
Okay, so we just pay money. We don't.
right. The fee we pay is for dispatching services from mutual aid.
Okay,
And and to belong to the organization so that when we need help, we get help. If they need help, we send help.
okay.
Yeah.
So it covers sort of administration of the system, but not any of the services.
Correct.
Okay.
So there is
Been
there
curious.
is the opportunity in some cases, and it's being talked about in this fire equipment committee that Art and I are on. It's like the town of Rockingham goes up on 91 for an accident. They can bill the insurance company for their time, but that takes someone reporting it and sending it on and billing. I don't know, Art, you could answer it, whether Saxtons River has ever done anything like that. But that, that is a possibility, correct?
We have not done anything like that. And that's another layer of administration that
Right,
has to be enacted.
right.
We're simply volunteering here.
Yep.
The town they just give the town their information. The town bills the insurance company on their behalf.
Right. Right. Yep. Okay.
Thanks.
Are we done with the general budget discussion at this point, Carl?
Mhm.
As far as we can
Yeah.
go tonight?
Pardon?
Have we gone as far as we can go on the
Yes,
general
I think
budget?
so. I think
Okay.
so.
Okay, and Nick, kudos for you for thinking outside of the box. Don't please take our comments as a disincentive to keep thinking. It's great to have your perspective, and I don't think we hear it enough. So good work.
No, I appreciate that. I'm also looking at boosting some things that we can do for Saxon River to help bring in some things for the nonprofit side of things. So we'll be able to help us long-term get the equipment that we need. Like I'm working on becoming a training center to be able to do more classes and stuff like that and community
That's
outreach.
great.
Cool.
So hopefully with those funds potentially coming in this year, maybe the expenditures on the bigger items can not come out of the taxpayer budget.
Sounds like an interesting plan. So are we ready for the next part of the village budget, which is discussing the new rescue truck, breathing apparatus, fire lights, and fire radios?
Yeah.
Ready.
Okay. I think this is particularly Art and Nick and Matt, who brought the proposal to us initially. Who wants to start?
I will.
Okay.
I would move that the Village of Saxons River purchase a new cab chassis to replace the existing one for the rescue unit for Saxons River.
Is there a discussion about that or?
So
Need
it's
a
been
second.
moved. This is a
Okay,
move
but-
for actual purchase. And we need a second before we proceed. And typically we get the second and then we discuss it.
Right, I second that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to purchase a new chassis for the rescue vehicle. And Art has provided me, Art, did you send that to all of us?
No, I just sent that to you and Matt.
Okay, so Matt and I have seen a very detailed preview order for the cab chassis, which amounts to $57,085. Do you want me to share that with the group? No, maybe not.
It's up to them.
If you'd
I've
like
seen
to.
it.
Or could you at least run the figure back again?
Yes, $57,085.
Now, this is not including installation, correct?
That's correct. This is just step one.
Okay,
And we can we'll go to step 2 and 3 after.
Well, let's lay it out now before we vote on it. That would be my suggestion, because
Okay, well.
we want to know the full
meeting,
implications.
Right. So in a prior meeting, the board was shown numbers to cover new cabin chassis for the rescue vehicle, and separately a number associated with removing the existing back body, upgrading it, repairing it, and installing it on the new cabin chassis, including painting.
So this is the quote from Kevin Osgood for $35,000.
Yep, and Art he's been in contact with them. We were hoping to have something for the chair to sign this evening regarding that. And Art, if you have anything new on that, if the numbers changed, I'll let you talk about that.
I do not. My last contact with Kevin was of course, during the holidays, and he was hip deep in alligators and trying to get stuff out for everybody. And ours was not on the top of the list, unfortunately. He indicated that there was, he didn't see any additional increase, to what we had talked about.
Okay, and that number was what?
I don't have that right in front of me, but I think Amy mentioned 35.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Art's email of November 22nd.
Yep.
And that quotes 35,000 from Kevin Osgood, that amount you just mentioned, Art. Remount, repair, upgrade lighting and door checks and undercoat body. In that list, the chassis is listed as 75,000, which is a lot more than 57,000. Is that just numbers reversed? Or
I can speak to that.
Yeah, that'd be great,
After
Art.
investigating and measuring the height of the chassis, there again, due to the limits of the station, we had to go to a smaller chassis to ensure it would fit inside that side of the station. It will handle the weight capacity, but we had to go to a shorter chassis. As in height wise.
Right. So to explain that a little bit further for those that want to know, the original chassis was a Ford F450, which has taller wheels on it, I believe, Art. So it sits up high. And again, he wasn't sure that it was going to fit through the door that we have existing, unfortunately. So you went to an F350.
350, yeah.
So for someone who's not at all versed in vehicles, and my hat's off to the fire committee and to you guys who know what you're talking about, are there other issues around reusing the chassis and a rebuilt body, new undercoated body, upgraded lighting, etc., that we should think through before we vote on this?
What was the first part of that?
The first part of it was how dumb I am about these things.
No, not that.
Yeah, it is.
So the chassis is the whole body that you sit in.
Right.
The frame, it's the drivetrain, which is the rear end, the transmission, the motor. So it's all of that. It's the backbone of the whole vehicle. And that one is older, and it's not something that you're going to do a little work on and make it great again.
Yeah.
So
remind me, what's the year of the vehicle we have now?
1992.
Did you get that one? Make a
Ellen
note of
hears it
that.
rattling by her house on occasion.
So 1992, and it's a two-wheel drive version of it. The new one is a four-wheel drive, which I think we need with muddy roads and slippery roads and steep driveways.
And this is the rescue vehicle that goes to everything, correct?
Correct.
It goes to every fire,
Yes.
whatever we send, this one
Yeah.
goes.
Fire, rescue calls.
This is
And-
definitely not a want. This is a need for sure.
Yeah,
And
I understand right, Matt, this is for the chassis and the drivetrain, this 57.
oh yeah, the cab chassis, Art can explain it more than I, but it's the whole, front end cab that you sit in and drive in, and the frame, and I think it has wheels with it too.
Yeah. It's the rolling chassis that you would buy and put any kind of body that you desire on the back of it.
so we're putting the body of the current vehicle onto this chassis?
Correct. After we refurbish it.
Refurbish and upgrade, right? With
Correct.
the LED lighting and
Okay, so
Then the cost of that, excuse me, is in Kevin Osgood's proposal, refurbishing the body.
that's correct.
Correct.
yeah, so 35,000 from Kevin Osgood, 57,085 for the chassis, so total of 92,085. $92,085.
I would like a side note on the second part of that, which is the $35,000 for the refurbish and installation of the existing body on the new one. Obviously, once they take the body off, there could be other issues, but I think they're professional enough. They had the vehicle to assess it, to come up with a price, but unlike buying the new chassis, there could be some tweaks to that one. I would put in there.
Good point, yeah. So this parallels the approach that Rockingham is taking with the fire department, Rockingham and Bellows Falls, correct?
Oh, I don't know about that. I haven't talked to any.
I thought the
committee
fire committee was doing that with their fire trucks.
We had discussed it, but it's up to the boards to decide.
So those expenditures would be paid for by Rockingham because it's fire equipment, or no? Will Saxtons River face a bill coming out of the fire equipment, coming out of the fire committee for upgrading?
Upgrading what? The fire
Upgrading-
committee decides what.
This is a little off from approving this, I think.
I know, but it has, I'm interested for two reasons. One is, it is curious that Rockingham does nothing for rescue vehicles in Saxtons River.
Well,
That's because historically, the fire department has always raised their own funds to buy a used whatever vehicle suits the needs at the time when one breaks down. The village hasn't even had to pay for one yet.
So the
So the-
village of Saxtons River has never paid for a rescue vehicle?
That's correct.
that's correct.
In previous times, it's been pass the hat and buy a vehicle with whatever is collected?
Yep, pretty much.
Mhm.
When
Yep.
one craps out so far beyond that you can't repair it, we start trying to raise money to get a new one. Or excuse me, a used one that fits in
Yeah.
the station.
Like 1992.
Yep.
So that's why I feel this is just vitally important for the village of Saxons River.
So who technically owns the current vehicle then? The
Well,
fire
I guess-
department, the rescue squad, the village?
No, technically, I guess the fire department does.
But the taxpayers did not purchase it. Correct?
Correct.
Well, for us newcomers, I appreciate that history. So if we take this expenditure, if we make this expenditure from our ARPA funds, we have $31,000 left in ARPA funds. I think it is a legitimate expense, but it does exhaust our ARPA funds.
That's what the funds are for,
No.
is to exhaust it. And I will do everything I can to spend all that money at the fire station and the volunteers and the equipment that they need, because they have been without upgraded apparatus for quite some time.
So just to point out, by spending this money on the rescue squad, we have very little money left for the scuba, the hand lights,
Right? Whatever's
and the
left.
scene lights.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as you had seen with the numbers that he supplied, that was well over what we received for ARPA.
Yeah.
Art, I pushed Art to say, hey, what is needed? So I would, beyond this, we need to, Art and I need to keep working with the fire equipment committee to push to get things upgraded. But, some of this stuff may be going into the village taxes to purchase some scene lights or something every year to keep I can't think of anything more important than our emergency services to have what they need. And it's been pushed to the side, and they're just not up with the equipment that they should have to service Saxons River and the community.
It's a reasonable request.
I
It
would say,
is.
looking at the-
I'm a little concerned that that we've discussed it for 2 meetings, and I'm not feeling like I'm ready to vote on it. And I could vote no and carry it out that way.
Want to contribute too.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Rick Holloway might, but
Yeah.
because I think this is really important. I think it's definitely a necessity. And Amy, I understand your concerns because there are 2 meetings.
If you look at the list of projects that were suggested for the ARPA money, I don't see, if we reserved all our ARPA money, I don't see it making a significant dent or completing any of those projects. This is something that we spend the money and we've actually accomplished something with it, not just kick something in to help push a project along a little way. I think it's something tangible. I think it's something important. I think that a rescue vehicle is more important to the village than any of the items on the ARPA list. And if I were voting to spend tax money on it, I would be reluctant to spend it on some of those other projects, but not on this. So I think this is important.
Are you ready for a vote,
I am ready
Yes.
to vote.
Yep.
Ellen?
Yeah,
All right.
So
Could we
just
read the
to-
motion again, please, Carl?
Yes.
I think I know what it says, but I just like to
Motion
make sure we have it.
is, to purchase cab and chassis to replace and upgrade the current rescue vehicle. So it's only for the purchase of the cab and chassis for an amount of $57,085. That's all that was covered in Matt's motion.
Matt, are you good with keeping that motion, or would you like to add in the $35,000 for Kevin Osgood's?
Let's amend it and add the $35,000 for the
So
upgrade.
Ellen, you're good at rapid calculations. I make that a total of $92,085. That's the total of $57,085 and $35,000. So
I
Matt, my
think-
understanding is you are now proposing a motion for $92,085 to replace the chassis on the 2012 rescue vehicle and
No, 1992.
1992.
I'm sorry, 1992, and to replace the chassis and
Remove and
remount
upgrade the existing.
and upgrade the rescue vehicle.
I point out, going back to Mac's previous comment, that that's approximately.
Yeah.
Not exactly.
Right.
So the
Just
chassis,
so that.
the
just so that-
chassis is an exact amount, but the remainder is not.
Yeah. I assume Matt and Art and perhaps Nick also, you've worked with Kevin Osgood. This is just a name to me.
Yes.
Yes,
Osgood Fabricators in Claremont, New Hampshire.
He's
They
the man.
build- Yeah, they build rescue bodies and other dump bodies, and this is their business. This is what they do.
Okay. And you're comfortable going with that bid, not asking for others? Just,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
okay. Carl, you're usually the one that raises the objections. You're okay with this plan? I don't mean that in a negative way. I think,
No,
we all keep each other
understand.
honest.
I understand.
I don't,
It sounds to me like we have a unique supplier.
yeah,
services.
I think I'm not, real, I don't have the details of our procurement process at the tip of my tongue, but I think that, this would fall under one of the exceptions where we do not need to let it out for bid.
Okay.
Although it is expending federal funds.
It's funds that we can spend for anything we would
Anything we
spend
want, yeah.
taxpayer money on, so.
Yep.
So I am comfortable with following Art and Matt and Nick's suggestion on who the best supplier is. I mean, I don't think there are that many people out there
Yeah.
that do this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mhm.
Ellen, are you comfortable with seconding Matt's reframed motion to expend $92,085? You were the original second. I'm giving you a chance to withdraw it or affirm it.
Okay.
No, I'm affirming it. I
Excellent.
seconded.
Okay. All right. We have a motion on the floor, which has been seconded. To Carl, I'm going to turn it back to you. Read the motion for us again, please.
The motion, as amended, is to purchase a cab and chassis to replace the and drivetrain. Excuse me, to replace the current rescue vehicle, remove, update, and remount the body onto that new chassis for an approximate cost of $92,085.
All those in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand. And it's unanimous. Okay. Good work, team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we going to do, we're in 2023, right? So we're dealing with the 2023 budget, correct?
Will this
Mm.
be done before July?
Oh, that's right. We're still in the budget until the
We're
end
still in
of,
the budget year 2022, so that was my question.
best
When do you think
guess,
it's gonna
Art?
happen?
The best guess is it should be, but
Okay.
the sooner.
It doesn't
ahead
have
you-
to. I mean, it's ARPA funds, so
How soon can you sign this, not invoice, but the,
Purchase agreement.
purchase agreement?
I could sign it tomorrow afternoon.
Perfect. Would you like me to leave it at the station? The original?
Ellen has the key now.
I have two keys in.
2 keys for the fire station?
One's
So
for
you
a
can-
truck.
Today is Monday, tomorrow is Tuesday. Can I stop by your house? Would you mind if I did that, Art?
Sure,
After 5, after 6? What's
it'd
good
have
for
to
you?
be after 6, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
Tomorrow would be fine.
Yeah, great. I'll do that.
Alrighty.
Whew.
I was gonna. Tomorrow, Art, as I'm heading into work tomorrow afternoon, but then I just have to drop it off at Amy's.
And then I have to get it back to you.
Right.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know
yeah.
exactly where this guy lives.
Yeah, yeah. So,
He's got the best Christmas lights in the neighborhood.
oh, they're down now.
Oh, no.
It's not Christmas anymore. It's after New Year's. Time to take them down.
I think I can still find it.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we are up to review deadlines. So, Carl, if you have more success with Sarah, that would be great. But as of now, we have a deadline of February 15th for Sarah providing up-to-date reports. I know that's late for everybody, but I asked her for a realistic goal, one that she could meet, and that's what we came up with. The auditors say they need a month with those year-to-date facts and figures before compiling the reports, which gets us to March 15th. I haven't yet surveyed all of you to see where we are with trustee elections, announcing who is running for trustees, giving you time to come up with your petitions and time to withdraw your names. All of those are governed by statute. So I think we're looking at the earliest at publication of the annual report by the end of March. Carl, remind me, what do the bylaws say about the annual meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Is it April?
Yes, it's April. It's I think the second Tuesday in April, second Monday in April, rather. Yeah, second Monday in April, I believe, which would be April 10th,
Which is Easter Monday.
Easter Monday, yeah.
Matt, what's your feeling about an annual meeting on Easter Monday?
Hold on.
Or anybody else? Ellen?
Well, let me take a look. So, I'm sorry, Easter Monday is the 17th? Or
10th.
The 10th, okay. I don't know. I don't know how well it. I don't know.
I was hoping Matt was on top of the school schedule. Which,
Oh, because of winter break,
yeah,
spring break.
yeah.
All right, hold on, let me see.
I mean, we have had it as late as June 6th. I think that
an
was,
exceptional year, remember, because
it was, no question.
That is school break, so.
The
spring
10th?
break. Yeah, spring break is, that whole week, the 10th through the 14th.
So we could do it on the 17th. Or we could move into May. I'm not available, or you could do it without me. I'm not available
Nope.
the week of the 23rd, the following week after the 17th.
Can we
What's
do
this
it-
for, the annual meeting?
Yes,
we
so
do it
we were just deciding to avoid the prescribed date, which would be April 10th, because that's school break.
So could we do it, April, 24th?
I can't,
Oh, you can't do it, okay.
I'm away. I'd be
I gotta
happy to
find
have
it.
you guys do it. You have excellent skills, but if you
Nope.
want me, it's got to be the 17th or
So the 10th, the week of the 10th is the school break.
yes,
I gotta
That's
find
what-
out when Kelly has school break, because we're gonna be out of town for a week.
What about May 2nd,
I can't do it May 2nd either, I'm afraid.
May 9th?
First, it'd be a Monday.
I'm sorry, May 1st.
No,
Right.
I'll be away the 1st and 2nd.
What are you
May 8th?
So I could do the 8th.
17th is fine. I'm fine with the 17th.
Yeah, I sort of uneasy about pushing the date of the meeting so far back beyond when it's supposed to be,
When's it
Okay.
supposed to be?
10th.
Well,
think-
when you have a conflict of,
No, I mean, that's fine.
I won't be here, I can tell you that.
I'm fine with the 17th, or the 12th. I'm just a little bit uneasy about pushing it forward into the next month.
Oh,
When
yeah.
was it last
I'd
year?
April 29th, but
So are we good on the 17th?
I think we might be. Hold on, let me look back and see what we did last year.
But it works for you, Amy, right?
Yes,
Works for me. Carl, you gonna
Works
be
for me.
around?
Works for me.
Okay, Ellen,
does,
there we go.
no, that's wrong there.
yeah, I think we had it April 25th last year.
Right, and if we want the big crowd like we had last year,
Oh, I think we're gonna get a great crowd. I'm not worried
Mhm.
about that. That was really, really nice last year, though, wasn't it?
yeah. But if you do it when the kids are on vacation, there's gonna be a lot of people out of town probably,
Yeah.
or more likely to have more people out of town.
All right, should we go with a date of the 17th? And I'll try and do my best to research the deadlines and make sure that that's works. We should also check, it would be good to know if Rick can make it.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Review deadlines for audit, town report, and warning town meeting. Any other things we should be thinking about for town meeting and the other deadlines?
So would the April 17th give time enough for the auditors and time enough to get the report out?
I think so. The auditors believe they can be done by March 17th,
Okay,
March 15th. I should be able to push it together. I believe it has to be out 10 days before. And we, as soon as we have the warrant ready, you know, that one-page document, we can post that. I think that has to be out 40 days before the meeting. So that should be pushed together. I mean, that's a list of what we're going to discuss. It seems to me that's not as hard as having the report, having the figures ready to go into the annual report.
Right. I don't think the wording of the warrant has changed much except for the date and time.
Yeah.
Over several years.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can sign that in February. So the two meeting dates in February
One meeting
are
date, right?
the
still meet-
February 6th is the trustee meeting. And if we have a worksheet update meeting, that would be the 20th, which is President's Day. Is that a holiday for you, Matt?
What's the day?
February 20th, Monday, February 20th?
It is school vacation.
That's
School
school vacation?
I will be out of town.
Okay, that's if we have to have a second meeting, but I'm thinking, Carl, that we will need a second meeting after February 15th. If you don't have up-to-date worksheets before then.
If I don't have data from Sarah for the 6th, then we'll have to have a second meeting. That's correct.
Yeah, so do we want to say the 27th then?
February 27th?
Yeah, my suggestion is that we book the 27th for the worksheet meeting, given the
Okay.
deadlines that we're dealing with, and everybody will be happy if we don't need it.
Okay.
Is
So that would
there,
be a special meeting on the 27th. For the annual report. Okay. Committee reports and updates. Municipal planning grant for 37 Main Street. Nothing new to add. Fire station. Art,
Haven't heard anything.
Matt, fire committee? Anything new? Okay.
no,
Wastewater treatment plant, Rob already brought us up to date, so we can go right by that. Minutes for approval from December 5th and December 19th. Do I hear a motion?
motion to approve
Both sets?
December 5th and December 19th.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second it.
Thank you, Ellen. The motion has been made to approve the minutes of December 5th and December 19th. That motion has been seconded. Is there some discussion? Carl, any feedback? Anything you want to add to the minutes?
Nope.
Okay. Ellen, Matt?
Mm.
Okay, we're ready for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of December 5th and December 19th, raise your hand. And it's unanimous. Thank you. Warrants and bills for approval. Do you want me to make you co-host?
Sure.
You should be good to go. I bet she takes us to her special secret warrant location.
Alrighty, I am going to also just make a little adjustment here. Fine. All right, okay. So right now it's for 19,347.27. I know that these are not sorted in alphabetical order. I tend to sort them based upon when I've entered them,
That's perfect.
when I've picked them up and then entered them. Does anyone have any questions?
I made a promise to myself to go back and check some of those invoices that reflect earlier months that haven't been paid, just to see that they were reflected on those warrants. I'm sure they were, but it seems to me that's the kind of due diligence that we owe you, Ellen, for your faithful work.
Well, I do want to, I picked up, I guess it was on Saturday, a bill for Coda and Coda for the wastewater treatment plant that said, which I thought was odd because I haven't seen anything before that. And I think that was before Sarah's time and before my time. And so I did put it on the warrant, but I also did email Sarah to see if she could check back, and maybe it's just an error on Coda's behalf. I have no idea. The the other thing that I have to keep monitoring is the Coda and Coda statements, because they don't do it like they do my house. So my fear is that we could have possibly overpaid them. So I'm trying to straighten that out. I think I got my head around it more so because they mail me the statement, they mail me an invoice, and they mail me the tickets. And so I match them up. But what I was doing was, as I was getting the mail, I would just add it to the warrant. And then they'd send me a statement which had everything on it. So
so you would expect, if you, now that you have that sense, and maybe it's worth a phone call to confirm this with Coda, but maybe just add the statements.
Yeah, and then what I do is I just go back and I, check it off, and then I deduct it. So, but again, I'm not an accountant, so I'm letting Sarah, I just give her the heads up. But, so let me see. Do you guys have any other questions? All right, I got your symposium on there. There it is.
I've got a question. Why does it say for wastewater treatment plant bill to Saxtons River Village? And
Oh, that, I don't even know why. Oh, here? No, wait.
well, almost most of these, it's for wastewater treatment plant, like line 7, bill to SRV. A&H for wastewater treatment plant, bill to SRV.
Yeah, and I apologize because I think I should really just get rid of this column. All it just means is the bill came into us. Like I picked it up from the post office.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that doesn't have anything to do with what account it's going to, right?
No.
No, I think that's the 4 account. Saxtons River Rec Area, Saxtons River Fire Department,
Well,
Saxtons River
why
Village.
when I saw that bill to it confused me, so I wanted
And I apologize. I'll take this out because it is confusing, because I meant to do that and then I didn't. Now I did.
Wow.
All right. I think we're going to keep her.
Temporarily.
And just to clarify,
Yeah.
when you do like the VTEL for Saxtons River Fire Department, could you change that to the fire station?
Oh, yeah, because you sent me an email about that.
I did. Just before the meeting, I was looking through, I said, oh, that doesn't come out of the fire department's part of the budget. That comes out of the building budget.
Well, I guess that's, I wanted to talk to you more about it, so I'm glad that we brought it up now. I I think that's all Sarah's responsibility to figure out which department fund it comes out of. I haven't ever done that. Like,
Yeah,
only because I don't know.
Okay,
It's not,
and I don't know that she knows that. That's why I really need to see year-to-date expenses.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I think you're following my habits, Ellen, which
Okay.
was just to allocate it to the funds that I knew. And again, Sarah has a multitude of small funds that she tracks that we're not
Okay.
aware of. You
Okay.
are obviously, Art.
Yeah,
And you know, if it'd be good to see those year-to-date figures so that if we need to change things, we can change them once and for all and make sure that we track it in a way that benefits you.
yeah. And Art, if it's okay with you, I'll just come back to you if I have questions. I'll just email you and say, where should I put this? And if
Yep,
that works for you.
that'd be
Okay,
fine.
okay. And then, did you see my email about if you want me to go down and pick them up or if you just want to scan them?
Yes, I did, and I'm thinking because of the confusion we've had,
Mhm.
that we should just continue that. That way you have the hard copies in your hand and
Okay,
they get filed accordingly. I believe Amy said they have to be kept for the auditors.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what
So-
they require.
So someone's gonna have to pick those up and be responsible for them.
okay, all right. So then I will resume and pick
Yes.
them up again. You got it.
Please.
Okay, are there further questions? And I don't think I had you make a motion. Is there a motion to approve the warrant?
Can I, just-
Did we already have that motion, Carl?
Oh,
Amy, I'm sorry, just one more thing.
Oh, yep.
So I just want to point something out to you guys. Okay, so example here, that's Rob's, I think that is the
Yeah.
Rob's salary.
right.
Yes.
So, okay, so what happened is you would think it would have been on December's warrant, but it wasn't because the warrant was for December 5th. I got the mail on the 7th, so I had to put it in here for
Yep.
January. But then you also have January's in here, so if that, I hope that clarifies. Make sense?
Yeah, so it's on the warrant, but I'm assuming that you got it to Sarah before the end of December.
Yeah, I got the one for December to Sarah on December 13th.
Perfect. So
And it's
she knows that you've okayed it and we set this system up exactly for this kind of problem. So
Yeah,
that she
because-
can pay it as soon as she gets it from you, knowing
Okay.
that you've reviewed everything and that we have the chance to review it at our next meeting, which happens in January. So
Yeah,
I think
because
that's
that-
the system working the way we hoped it would.
Okay, and that's what I understood it to be, so I understood as soon as I reach out, she pays it, as opposed to, you know, like
Yep.
this huge lump sum at the end of the month. or
Yep.
what. I'm good.
Okay,
Mhm.
Carl, could you check for me? Was there a motion to?
No, there was not.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the warrant. Now that we've discussed it in detail, I'll make that motion. Is there a motion, is there a second to the motion to approve the warrant
Second.
tonight? A second
Second.
from Matt? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve this warrant in the amount of, the final amount, Ellen? You've rolled it
Of
up, so I can't see it.
I'm sorry, $19,347.27.
For the amount of $19,347.27. All in favor signify by holding up a hand.
Bye.
My hand is up.
Okay, there are four of us, it's unanimous. Okay, we are on to other business. Thanks, Ellen. Is there other business for tonight?
Nope.
Okay, next meeting. Items for next meeting. Geez, if we don't have a budget, it's going to be a very worksheets. It may be a rather brief meeting.
Yeah. Well, let's put the worksheets on, because I hope we have them.
Yeah. So that
could-
meeting will be February 6th. Nobody has conflicts with that at this point?
February 6th,
Yep. That's the first Monday in February.
okey dokey.
I believe we are having a meeting. The tri-board meetings are Monday nights, correct?
Yeah,
I
I've
thought
got
they-
what did I just see?
So I think that would be the 30th of January. Let me just see when the last one was. No, they're Tuesdays, sorry. So the 31st then would be the next tri-board meeting, January 31st. And I know they were talking about having one, so I'm assuming that will happen Tuesday, January 31st at 7 p.m. So you might want to make a note of that. Maybe you know, Matt, are we going to be doing the fire feasibility study one last time that night?
Yes, looks like we're meeting Monday, the 23rd at 5:30.
I bet it's because of that meeting on the 31st.
Yes.
I think there will also be a discussion of sheriff contract for the town of Rockingham. So, this has been under discussion for a while. Bartonsville feels like they need more policing.
Yep.
And the discussion will probably be around a town-wide vote. So all members of the town of Rockingham on whether to extend policing from the Bellows Falls Village throughout the entire town.
Hmm.
So that's what I've been hearing anyway. Sheriff, Bellows Falls Police. Is there anything that you want to have on the tri-board agenda? Peter Golick and Deb Wright, I'm sure will be asking me in the next week.
I don't think there's anything pressing right now, right?
Ellen? Okay. All right, if you think of something, drop me a line, please. And if they ask me, I will probably put something out. Do we have any need? I finished with this. Any other items for the next meeting?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I believe there's no need for an executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, it's been moved to adjourn. I'll second that.